In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. Welcome to the world of physics. Due to coronavirus, we have to continue our online class. I'd like to suggest you stay home, stay safe, and don't go outside of your home. And if you go, use mask and wash your hand frequently. Let me introduce. I am Mohammad Muqtadir Hossain Bhuiya, lecturer, Department of Physics. Now observe this diagram. You may take 5-second time to observe this diagram and think what you have observed in this diagram, and observe this diagram too. In the center, the point is denoted as nucleus and the circular ring is denoted as electron orbit. And observe this diagram too. You may think, how can we relate this diagram with our topic? Okay, stay with us and we're going to relate these with our topic. This may be a little bit interesting for you. Name of the chapter for you and is atomic model and nuclear physics. And today's topics are explain half-life, atomic model, nuclear decay law, and explain mean life. Learning outcomes for you based on today's lecture. By the end of this lesson, you will be able to explain atomic model, explain half-life, explain mean life, and nuclear decay law. These all are the learning outcomes for you. And after the lesson, you'll be able to explain all these topics. And key points for us is atomic model, half-life, mean life, and nuclear decay law. Prior concept of atomic models. The idea of atoms was invented by two Greek philosophers. They're Democritus and Lucifus in the 15th century BC. And the Greek word that is today we know this word as atom, and previously they write this as alpha, tau, omicron, mu, o, nu. That is near to the word atom, and that means in Greek word that means it is invisible, and they believe that atoms couldn't be broken into smaller pieces. Now we're going to discuss about nuclear models, and we have different models for atom. At first, the model is John Dalton's atomic model and Plum-Pudding model, Rutherford model of the atom, and Bohr model of the atom, and electron cloud model or quantum mechanics model of atom. Actually, 3 and 4 is important for you, and we're going to discuss all this shortly in our next few slides. At first, we're going to discuss about Dalton's model of the atom. He proposed that all matter is composed of very small things, which is called atom. This was not a completely new concept, as the ancient Greek has proposed that all matter is composed of small indivisible and it cannot be divided objects. With Dalton proposed model, his model electrons and the nucleus are unknown, and we can denote his model with this diagram. and they are indivisible, and electron and nucleus are not identified, and their position is unknown with this model. And after that, we have another model, that is Thomson model. This Thomson model came to us in 1904, and this is known as Plum-Pudding model also. And here, atom is made up of negative electron that float in a soup of positive charge, and much like plums in a pudding or raisin in the fruit cake. And 1906, he got Nobel Prize for this model, and we can present his presents Thomson model with this diagram. Here we have positive charge uh, and so for positive charge, and electron is floating in these positive charge, like uh, uh, and this model is known as plum pudding model, and the resin is uh, given to the in fruit cake. And or another model is Rutherford model for atom. With the Rutherford model, we can after describing, we can conclude Rutherford model as in the center we have nucleus, and in nucleus we have a neutron and proton, and we have electron orbit in circular electron orbit, and electron is circulating in electron orbit and uh, around the nucleus. And in Rutherford model, at first we have experiment that is known as alpha particle experiment, and Rutherford model is also known as solar system atom model. And now then we are going to discuss about the limitations of this model. Actually, all of you have known Rutherford alpha particle model and its limitation, and why it is called solar system atom model. Okay, although all of you know about it, but we are going to discuss it shortly. At first, alpha particle model, observe this diagram. This is the source of alpha particles, and from this the alpha particle go through these tiny slit, and most particle here the most important thing is this is the thin gold foil, and beam of alpha particles passes through this gold foil, and most particles are undeflected, and we have circular fluorescent screen. uh, if we observe some light in this screen, then we can call that the particle have breached in this screen, and we observe that most particles are undeflected, and some of the particles deflect, and they are scattered particles. And this is the core thinking of alpha particle. And we can compare this Rutherford model with Thomson model. In Thomson model, actually, uh, there is a unidentified structure of atom, and there is an indivisible. And if we uh, throw alpha particle through this atom, and all the alpha particle go in a certain direction, but uh, in Rutherford model, if we throw alpha particle to this atom, and many of the particle have breached without deflection, and some of the particle deflected, and uh, we observe the result here. And with the observation, we can conclude that there is a same charge, that is positive charge, uh, situated in the center of the atom, and it is called solar system atom model, because electron is circulating around the nucleus, or uh, around the nucleus. And this also called solar system atom model. And limitation for Rutherford model is, here we in the center we have nucleus, and that is positive charge, and we have electron, that is negative charge. And in the uh, uh, although cause their charge is different from each other. So if the electron moves around the nucleus, then after certain time it will continuously go near to the nucleus, and finally it will meet to the nucleus, and our total structure will vanish. Actually, there is the limitation of Rutherford model. In practically, this doesn't happen in our practical life. And here, an electron accelerating around the nucleus would continuously emit electromagnetic radiation and lose energy. Therefore, it would eventually fall into nucleus, and the atom would collapse. However, this is not consistent with real world observation. Actually, in a real world observation, is atoms are stable, but if we apply Rutherford model, atom must not be stable. That's the limitation of Rutherford model. And to solve the problem of Rutherford model, we have another model, that is Bohr model. And Niels Bohr have introduced this model. And in Bohr model, we have nucleus in the center, and we have a fixed electron orbit around the nucleus. And now, based on previous discussion, do it yourself and match this information in column A with the key discoverer in column B, and match this diagram. I would like to suggest you to pause this video and take uh, 1.5 minute, or at best 2 minutes time to match these between column A and column B. Okay, do it yourself, and I hope that all of you will uh, can solve this and match this column A and B. Okay, hope that all of you have completed this. We're going forward, and two other models for propose for the atom. One of them is a cubic model, and another is uh, Saturnian model. In cubic model, the electron wire imagined to lie in the corner of a cube, and in Saturnian model, the electron wire imagined to a uh, uh, orbit a very big heavy nucleus. Other models, actually we use only Bohr model uh, most commonly, but we have scientists are developing another model, that is quantum theory, and based on quantum theory we can describe atom, and Schrödinger, Heisenberg, Born, and many other scientists uh, have a role in developing quantum theory. And three types of radioactive decay. Here we have a nucleus of an atom, and there are three types of decay from this nucleus. Uh, these are alpha radiation or alpha decay, beta radiation or beta decay, and gamma radiation or gamma decay, that is alpha, beta, and gamma. Actually, in alpha radiation, there are two protons and two neutrons, and in beta radiation, this is actually high energy electron, and in gamma radiation, this is actually high energy electromagnetic photon. These all are the three types of radioactive decay from nucleus, that is alpha, beta, and gamma. Alpha is positively charged, beta is negatively charged, but gamma is neutral. Nuclear decay law, this is more important for you. That is, the rate of radioactive decay of radioactive atom is directly proportional to the number of intake atom present in that time. That is, a rate of change of rate of change of radioactive atom or rate of decay of radioactive atom is directly proportional to the number of integrated atom present in that atom, which can be denoted with this equation, that is minus ddt of n, that is rate of change of atom is proportional to the intake atom. And here negative sign is used for the decay, because with time the atoms will degrade with time. And we are going to derive this nuclear decay law, that is this is the derivation for radioactive decay. And if we, in previous slide we have observed that the equation is minus ddt of n proportional to n. If we exclude or uh, proportional, then we can introduce a constant, that is a constant gamma, and the equation like that, ddt of n is equal minus n lambda. And uh, after calculating cross multiplication and replacing n here and dt here, we have the equation dn by n is equal minus lambda dt. And after if we introduce integration sign in both sides, we introduce this, and we know 1 by n of dn is ln n, and integration of dt is t. And cause this is undefined, and putting this after putting this value, it is undefined, and we introduce a new constant, that is c, and putting this value t is equal to 0 to n is equal to n naught. Then we got the value of constant, that is c is equal to ln n naught. And by putting this value in this equation, we have another equation. After that line we have this equation, ln n is equal minus lambda t is equal ln n naught. And uh, by changing the side, uh, we can write the equation as ln n by n naught, that is ln n minus ln n naught. And uh, we can write the equation as ln n by n naught is equal minus lambda t. And if we change the side of ln, and that is anti ln, and after that we have the equation, that is n by n naught is equal e to the power minus lambda t. And we have final equation, that is n is equal n naught e to the power minus lambda t. And here n is the intake atom after certain time, uh, or in any time, and n naught is the initial atom, and e to the power is antilons, and that is lambda is a constant, and t is a time. And decay law for mass and activity, actually decay law, uh, we have introduced previous decay law for uh, number of nucleons, and we can uh, write the decay law for activity as a is equal a naught e to the power minus lambda t. For mass, the decay law is a is equal m. For mass, the equation is m is equal to m naught e to the power minus lambda t. And predictive decay law, this is more common and important for you, that is n is equal to n naught e to the power minus lambda t. And we have derived this equation in our previous slide. We have derived this decay law from the statement of decay law. And the final equation for decay law is n is equal to n naught e to the power minus lambda t. And the rate of nuclear decay is also measured in terms of half-life. That is another important topic for us. And here the our final equation is n is equal to n naught e to the power minus lambda t. And our next topic is half-life. Half-life is nothing but if you have 80 billion undecayed nuclei, and after a certain time, if you get 40 billion undecayed nuclei, that is half-life for the previous nuclei. And after 40 billion, if we observe 20 billion undecayed nuclei, that is another half-life. And after 20 billion, if we observe 10 billion undecayed nuclei, this is another half-life for you for decaying. And for uh, first decay, we observe from 0 minute to 40 minute, that is first half life, and for 40 to another 40 minute, that is another second half life, and this is third half life. And um, here the circular ring, which one is deeper, that is 1 billion undecayed nuclei, and uh, this is uh, the smaller or fade uh, circle is denoted as 1 billion decayed nuclei. Here all of these is undecayed, and here half of them are undecayed, and half of them is decayed. And after that, in last position, all of them have decayed. Sorry, uh, uh, two-third, no, one of the eight is uh, remain intact and undecayed, but all of them have decayed uh, with respect to the initial condition. That is, we here we have first half life, second half life, and third half life. And after third half life, we have 1/8 of the intake nuclei that remained undecayed. And relate this diagram with half life. That is, we have shown that shown this in your previous in the beginning of our class. And uh, after certain time, it became half. um, uh, that is, that can be related, that can be uh, related to half life. And actually it's such an metaphor for you actually. uh, uh, if you have full of the intake atom here, and after certain time, if half of them is decayed, or then this is called half life. uh, by this way, I can relate this diagram with half life. Actually it's just example, and it's not a perfectly or literal. It's not literal example, but you can relate this diagram with half life. And we are going to solve a half life related problem, and uh, read this question. And here tin 108 has half life of 10.3 minutes, and radioactive samples contain 72 gram of tin 108, and determine the mass of tin 108 that has decayed, and that has not decayed after 30.9 minutes. Here, our half-life is 10.3 minutes, and after 3 half-life, we have time 30.9. And here, our previously we started the radioactive sample contain 72 gram, and after half life, first half life, it will be 36, and after second half life it will be 18, and after third half life it will be 9 gram, and after three half life we have 9 gram intake atom of tin 108. This is the second question for you. That is related to half-life. Here, the radioactive atom is a substance decay to become stable atom. It has found that after 136 seconds, 93.75% of the atom have decayed. What is the half-life of the substance? And here the solution for you. Here the percentage, here 93.75% have decayed. So we have remained 6.25% is undecayed, that is intact. And if the half life is denoted as T, and um, for first half life, from 100% to 50%, from 50% to 20%, that is second half life. And for third half life, that from 25 to 12.5%, it continuously became half of the previous state. And after that, we have after fourth half life, we have integram that is 6.25%, that is undecayed. And so we observe that there are four half life here. 1 2 3 4, that is 4 half life. And uh, after 136 point 136 second, uh, 136 second, that is a total of 4 half life, and so the half life is 34 second here. Our another question, read this question. Here we have initial mass as 10 gram of mass, and half life is 6.7 hour. At first, we have to calculate the what the fraction of the sample that hasn't decayed after 20.1 hour. Uh, after that is we have 6.5 hour is half life, and this is the total time. If we divide the total time by half life, then we got the total half lives, that is 3 half lives. And uh, 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 we have 3 half lives, that is at first if you have uh, uh, if you have 100 gram, and if we observe 3 half life, then previously we also discussed that after 3 half life, that is 1/8 of the intake, 1/8 of the intake atom will remain undecayed. At first, if we take 1, and first half life, it will be 1 by 4, and after a second half life, it will be 1 by 4, and after third half life, it will be 1 by 8. And our second question for you is, what is the mass of undecayed uh, protactinium, that is 134 after the period of time? What is the mass? If we going to calculate the mass, that is, we previously have calculated that we have remained 1/8 of a previous atom, or 1/8 of undecayed atom. That's why after 3 half life, we have only 12.5 gram. That is cause here 100 gram is total, and 1/1 is uh, keep remain intact after 3 half life. That's why after 3 half life, we have the mass 12.5. That is uh, our undecayed mass for protactinium 234 after this period of time. And here the period of time is 20.1 hour. Here the equation, uh, we can relate half life and mean life. That is the equation for mean life is tau is equal 1 by 1 by of lambda. And previously we have equation for half life, that is T half is equal to 0.693 by lambda. And this is the equation for mean life. Actually, just memorize this equation for to solve mathematical problem related to half life and mean life. And this is the relation between torque is equal to half by 0.693. This is the equation for relation between half life and mean life. And here is a table for you. That is we have many isotope and their half-life and their decay constant. Decay constant is denoted by lambda, and half-life is denoted by T or T half. And there is the isotope, and it's their value for half-life and decay constant. And relation between half-life and mean life, previously we have shown this as Tf equal to ln 2 by lambda, that is Tf equal to 0.693 by lambda. And we know 1 by lambda is torque, and the final equation for half-life and mean life is equal, T half is equal to 0.693 tau. Tau is the mean lifetime, and lambda is radioactive decay constant, and T half is radioactive half-life. And we are going to explain this graph and observe this graph. If you want to observe, if you want to understand any graph, then at first you have to look the uh, axis. In x direction, we have time in multiple of half life, and in y direction we have includes number of nuclei, and uh, at the very initial point we have 1000 into 10 to the power 3 of nuclides, and after first half life, that is t half, just observe this, uh, uh, it became 500 from 1000, and this is first half life, and after second half life from 500 to 250, that is 250 is number of nuclei, and this is second half life, uh, and after third half life it became uh, 125, and that is uh, one 120 for 125 uh, we have a three half life, and continuously we can draw another curve for third half life, fourth half life, fifth, sixth, and seventh, eighth, ninth, tenth, and so on. And here for this graph we put this value when the time is zero. Here when the time is zero, we have the value of number of nucleates, that is 1000 into 10 to the power 3, and for first of life this became uh, 500,000, and for second of after second of life it is 250,000, and so on, the value uh, in every after half life it becomes half of the previous atom, from 125,000 to 62,500, 31,250, and so on. And these all are the value for half life, and that's all. And we are going to discuss this graph too. And here we are going to compare between higher decay constant and lower decay constant. If the radioactivity here in previously we have a number of nuclides in y-axis, and but here we have radioactivity in y-axis, and in x-axis we have normal time, and in y-axis we have uh, activity. And uh, if the decay constant is lower, then we got the upper dotted curve, that is for lower decay constant, and for higher decay constant we have this graph, dotted curve, and this is the average for higher and lower decay, that is uh, not dotted curve or full curve for you. And the graph shows the three different exponential decay, each with a different decay constant. The line with a lower half life has a lower decay constant, where the line with a smaller half life has a smaller half life has a greater decay constant. And the relation is vice versa. If the decay constant is lower and the half life is higher, and uh, larger, and if the half life is smaller, then the decay constant is for higher decay constant we have small half life, a lower half life, and for lower decay constant we have higher half life. And these are the equations for you of our today's related to our today's topics, that is n is equal to n naught e to the power minus lambda t. This is the core equation, and after by using this equation we can write another equation for you. uh, these all are the equation based on n is equal n naught e to the power minus lambda t, and observe these equations. And I think it will be helpful for you to solve any mathematical problem that is related to our uh, topics, and some comprehension based question for you. And this is another question. First question is what is called the nuclear model, and second question is why was Rutherford model rejected. We have previously described why Rutherford model is rejected and the limitation of Rutherford model, and why uh, it is called a nuclear model, and why is the nuclear model is important. Nuclear model involves several theoretical description of the structure and the function of atomic nuclei, and each of the model is based on plausible analogy that correlates a large amount of information and enables prediction of the properties of nuclei. And why it is called uh, this is the definition for explanation for half-life. And another comprehension based question for you is what is half-life and mean life. Actually, half-life is denoted by T half, and the time required to uh, for either the radioactivity or the number of radioactive atoms to decay to half of the initial value. The mean or average life, that is related by a tau symbol. This is average life or mean life. And why do we use half life? Because radioactive decay is a matter of chance. When of the one atom will decay is another is anyone's guess. If you have two identical atoms, one could decay immediately, the other could hang around for a century or millennium. This time frame where statistically half of the atoms decay is called half-life. The line is important here. Statistically, half of the atom decay is called the half-life. And another question for you is why half-life is important. Actually, it is important because it enables you to determine when a sample of radioactive material is safe to handle. They need to be active long enough to treat the condition, but you should also have a short enough half-life so that they wouldn't injure health cell or organs. Here, the important thing is if the half-life is smaller, then uh, we have less chances of injury of health cells and organs. And homework for you: observe this diagram. Here, along x-axis we have time, and along y-axis we have number of nucleides, and after first half life it in the very initial point uh, the number of nuclide is denoted by n naught, and after first half life it is zero point 0.5, after second half life it is 0.25 n naught, and after third half life the value of nuclide is 0.125 n naught. This is a graph, and this graph indicates the radioactive decay of radioactive element X. Consider the radioactive element as X, and the average life is 2294 year. And now number AV. Actually, number AV may be not uh, in board question, that may be not related to you or question, but uh, the what is binding energy? I think binding energy is binding energy will discuss in our uh, next uh, next class. But I think uh, in your textbook you will got the definition of binding energy and another thing. And actually, the important thing for today's class is half-life of element. We can calculate this half-life by using the previously explained equation, that is T half is equal to 0.169 tau. That is, we have given the value of average here, the value of tau is given here, and after using this equation we can calculate the value of tau. And does the graph of the F stem or be the radioactive decay law analyzed mathematically? from the Avogadro, because here in Avogadro, all of the value and all of the information is given, and we can for this to solve this question that is related uh, solve this problem, uh, we have to uh, use this graph, and from decay law uh, we have equation for lambda, and after getting all the values, uh, uh, if the decay constant is if you have calculate a single lambda for this graph, then we can say that there is a decay constant, and if the decay constant is same for first half life, second half life, and third half life, then we can say that the value the above graph is followed by the radioactive decay law. And most important thing is, once again I'm saying, we have to calculate the value of lambda for first half life, second half life, and third half life. And if you calculate the value of lambda, this is the symbol of lambda, then you can uh, say that it follows the radioactive decay law. You may have some question that is related to our topic, and I think we can solve your problem in our class time. And stay home, stay safe. May Allah keep us all safe from COVID-19. And thank you all for joining with us.